Hi Stampers, it's Linda Schmitt with Stampin' with the Hounds. I have several things to show you today. One is going to be a fun fold that's been really popular right now. This is what is the landscape version, and I made this fold a while ago, and I was calling it more of like an inside accordion, either like a fan or like a flag, because you're adding your little things on the accordion things. And now I've also heard it called pretty pleats. So this is the landscape version. So I'm going to show you how to do the landscape version. And then the other one is going to be what I call the portrait. So same thing, you're getting that inside kind of accordion fold, and then you can decorate however you want. So that's the portrait. And then I'm also going to show you another version. So as you can see on these are what we call that stack, cut, and slice, where you take 3 sheets of paper, stack them together, cut all 3 at the same time, and then you just kind of move the pieces around so you get 3 cards from those 3 sheets of paper that you had cut. So that's been around quite a bit, and I did do a tutorial on this a few years ago. So I'm just, I'll probably update it again, but I'm going to do another version of this, which is called more of what I call the scrambled blocks. And again, you're taking, 2 to 4, however many sheets of paper you want to do. For mine that I'm going to show today, I'm just doing 2 sheets, and then we're just making a pattern and then cutting our paper. And then again, you can get 2 cards because you're going to be using those pieces for other things. So quite a few things to show you today, but let's go through. I was just going to show you my sample. So these are the portrait ones. Again, these are that stack, cut, and slice, and I was using a Walk in the Woods paper that's in the 2023 mini catalog. And again, so it opens up, and you can go to town on however you do this. You do want to be careful though that you don't go too thick, because you will have to do extra postage. So this one I would say is border. But I think it'll be okay. I'll check it before I actually mail it and stuff. But again, I just kind of did some little deckled circles that I put on half of the folds, and I just did some snowflakes and then a little bear and stuff. So really fun to do, and a really, you can decorate both sides if you want. I've just been mainly decorating the one panel. So there's just, versions of that. Super fun. I just like making my little scenery on those circles. So that's another fold. And then this one I kept pretty simple for a Linda card. There's not much bling on the front. Doesn't happen very often. And then another little scenery on that circle. So again, you can do as many, you can do 3, you can just do the 1, whatever your heart desires on that. So those are some of the portrait ones. And then again, this is my original one that I had posted on my Facebook group page that people have been wowing about. So that's using the Forever Forest dies, and then the bundle. And then I did that snowflake, oh gosh, what is this folder? I always forget to call it Snowflake Sky for the background. And then these are more of the landscape versions. And so I'm also going to show you the split diagonal layout, and this is a landscape version, because a lot of times you see it more as the portrait, but I flipped it around and I did this as the landscape. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that layout as well today. So this one is using that oxidized copper specialty paper that is in the holiday mini, so the 2023 holiday mini. And then again, there's my Forever Forest, and then this is the glow in the dark. I can do this really quick. I always want to charge up your moon, and then you can kind of see how it glows if I turn the lights off. But so that one I just made a little crescent moon, and then here is that inside fold. So now on this time around, I actually glued my trees directly onto those little accordions, and then I just did one little scenery with my circle on that one. So I thought that was kind of a fun one to do. And again, this one is it's still pretty thin, so pretty good on that. So you always want to make sure you're using designer series paper on that inside, because that's going to help keep it thinner. So there's that one. I really like this one. And then this one is actually for Jeff. We had a little tiff last week, so we've made up and everything. It's just it's life, but and the holidays. But anyway, this is for him. So I did another little scenery with the mountains. And then I did my little So this time I just did the trees over here, and then I got my little scenery again, and you can see I did a little constellation with my stars there. And then again, that little bear. This is actually from Retired. It was from that snow globe set from a few years ago, so I still kept the dies, but that's where those little bears came from. And then the rest of this is from the Forever Forest die set. So really liked how those two turned out. And then these are, again, more of the split diagonal and using that oxidized copper. And then this is the other paper that is in the mini, this one, or no, this is still from the Walk in the Woods, if I correct. Yes, a walk in the forest, sorry. So that paper is still from there. And again, I'm using the Forever Forest dies on that one. And then there's that folder again. So this paper is super pretty. And then again, this one, again, I did my little scenery now with the deer. And so this deer is from Grassy Grove. And then the rest of this is from the Forever Forest. They have so many forest names. I can't keep them straight. So again, there's that fun accordion fold. And then this one I did the graceful deer. I embossed it. And again, the trees again. And then there's my little scenery and that. So super fun to do. It's a great way to use up some of your designer series paper as well. So we're going to get started. So I'm going to show you the 2 folds first, plus the scrambled blocks, and then we'll finish off with that split diagonal. So we're going to start with the portrait one first. So this is my little template that we'll be using. Get some of this stuff here. All right, so you're going to need, for the portrait, you'll just need your cardstock, a half sheet of cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, and you're just going to score in the middle at 4.25, and then you'll just fold that in half. And that's going to be your portrait, the base of your card. Then you are going to need, so you can do variations of this. So like on this one, my DSP is cut to the 3 3/4 by 5. I then layered that onto a 4 by 5.25 sheet of vanilla. You can also just do your designer series paper at 4 by 5.25 and cut it, and then not worry about having that triple layer. So that's totally optional, but I like to do my layers. So my designer series paper is going to be 3 3/4 by 5, and I'm doing 2 because I didn't like this back pattern with it. So I'm using 2 different sheets, but I'm going to be showing on my scrambled blocks, I'm only showing the 2, which will be the forest and then the snowflakes. But again, you can add additional papers if you want to have each of your 4 blocks be different patterns. So 2 of those, and then I'll go over the measurements on this, and I'll give you time to get a screenshot of that. Now, again, because I'm going to layer this, I'm just using some pattern paper instead of cardstock. So this is the 4 by 5.25, and that's what I'm going to layer my blocks onto. So that can be cardstock, or it can be designer series paper for that one. That's for your layering your blocks on. And then to make your fold for the inside, you want to pick paper. You really don't see the, unless you tilt it, you can kind of see the back side, but for the most part, a lot of the papers, they kind of coordinate with it. So this one is going to be 5.25 by 10, and then we're going to score it 2 inches, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 inches to make our accordion. So when you cut your paper, you want to remember that your card is opening this way, so make sure that your design is lined up correctly when you're cutting your paper. Very important. And then for the inside, for your sentiment, again, the portrait one is going to be a little bit narrower than the landscape. So my portrait one for my greeting is, and you can do 1 or 2 pieces of this. So I just did a piece of pecan pie, and mine is 1 3/4 by 5. Or if you want to have a little bit narrower border, this can be a titch larger at 1 7/8 by 5 1/8. And I think this one might actually be, Yeah, this one is, I did cut this one to the eighths, so 1 7/8 by 5 1/8 because I wanted a little bit more room for my greeting. So that's for the inside. So that's all you really need for the pieces for the portrait one. So let's go ahead and do our scoring. And then again, whatever embellishments you want to do for your inside, for your circles and your focal point. So I've kind of got all of that done already. So we're going to take our DSP. And again, we are going to score. Get this out of the way here. At 2 inches. And then 3 inches. 4 inches. 5 inches. 6 inches. 7 inches. And 8 inches. And that's all the scoring on that part. So you're going to take the ends that were the, you know, where you're going to be putting your greeting. You're going to fold one of those in, and I like to make sure my score lines are lining up. And then we're going to start making a fan fold. So I'm going to take this next line, score line here, and we're going to fold back. And again, as I'm doing this, I'm just making sure my lines are straight. Then we're going to come back. So this is where you're getting what I call the fan. Remember those little paper fans you made as a kid? This is kind of what it is. And then again here, I just make sure, sorry if I'm going to be off a little bit here, but I want to come in a little bit to make sure my ends are meeting up, because sometimes you may have to adjust your fold, the crease line a little bit, just to make sure it's lining up better. Okay, so we just did that one. Now we're going to go back again. And then we'll come forward. And again, I just kind of make sure that this is up. So you're always getting all of that lined up. And then we're going to do, we got 2 more, so we're going to go back. And again, making sure these ends are lining up. Come in just a little bit there. And then the last one, I like to turn it around because now we're going to have these ends meet up here. So this is where you want to make sure that everything is aligned. And then I just give it one more little crease. So now this is my inside, and I've got that accordion fold. All right, so now we'll take our cardstock that we had, and we are going to attach this to the inside. So again, I left this so that I'm having a 1/4 inch border going around. And this cardstock that I'm using, this is Pretty Peacock. That coordinates with the Walk in the Woods. Or a Walk in the Forest. Oh my gosh, everything's forest or woods. I'll get it yet. I tell you, this the holiday, well, this will probably be the last of my Christmas cards, because I've got to get them in the mail. I mean, I just been a little, I got to go get stamps, and then I got to write everything out and get all of this stuff in the mail. Okay, so we're going to line this up. So we've got that kind of 1/4 inch border. Make sure that all looks good. Now, a lot of times you can like put the glue here and then close it. I've had success, and then I have not had success. So, what you can, as long as the times I've had it work really well, I totally make sure that everything is aligned and that my cardstock edges, everything is aligned. And then if you put the glue there, then it works. But if it's off a little bit, then it's crooked and it doesn't work. So we are going to pray to the video gods that it's going to work. Otherwise, I'll show you on the next one the other way of doing it. So I'm going to keep this closed. Everything is lined up. This is coming in. It's lined up with my edges. And then I'll just take my folder. Of course, I had glue on my fingers, so let me take my little adhesive remover. And bada bang, it worked. Yay! So there I've got my 1/4 inch border going around. But again, you want to make sure that everything is lined up for that technique to work. Okay, so now there's that. And now I'm going to show you, we'll wait and do that. Let me do the scattered blocks first. So for the scattered blocks, this is my pattern. So I'll kind of let you guys get a little screenshot of it. So again, I'm using a piece of paper that's 3 3/4 by 5. You're going to measure over 2 1/2 and make a mark. You're going to go down 1 3/4 inches and make a mark. And then you're also going to go down 2 3/4 and make a mark. Then you just cut all the way down. So you've got that 1 3/4 strip. And then this piece, you'll just cut right there. So you've got that little rectangle. And then this piece, you'll then cut at that 2 3/4 mark. So we'll first, and I like to cut them together. So I've got both of my 2 pieces that were the 3 3/4 by 5. And I'm going to use a little bit of low-tack tape to keep these 2 pieces together while I'm measuring and cutting. So again, and then the other way too, if you totally want to cheat, put your pattern on top of it, take your scoring tool, and then just draw your lines. And then that way you've got the score lines that you can use to cut your paper. But I'm going to show you how to use your ruler to do the measuring. So again, we are going to go down. Actually, you know what? Let me do this so you can see it with the snowflake paper. It'll be a little bit easier to see. We'll have that on the front here. So we're going to go down 1 3/4 inches and make a mark. And then we're going to go over 2 1/2 and make a mark. And then we're going to go down on the left side to make sure I'm lined up here. 2 3/4 inches and make a mark. Okay. And then I also like to, just because this is over 1 3/4, I just make sure my bottom piece, get this out of the way, I put a mark down here too, just so that I can line up those. Let's see, 1, come on now, 1 3/4. Just so I can have my little marks when I'm lining up in my paper cutter. Okay, so now you're going to take your paper cutter. So I'm going to cut off that 1 3/4. So I'm lining up those. Oh, I did do that wrong. There we go. Okay, so we're doing the 2 1/2. That's where we're cutting it. So I'm just going to actually cut, because I said it was 2 1/2 here. That's where that mark is. So if you put it in your paper cutter at 2 1/2, you'll be fine. I'm just trying to overcomplicate it in my brain here. God. Oh, it's morning on a Saturday. I've only had 1 cup of coffee. All right, so we're at the 2.5 mark, and we're just going to cut this section off. All right, now we're going to rotate this, and our tick mark that was down here at the 2 3/4, I'm making sure that this is at 2 3/4. My tick mark is right here. And I'm cutting that one off. And then this piece, or these 2 pieces, now we want to make sure these are at the 1 3/4, and that's where my tick mark is up here, and then I'm actually at 1 3/4 on my paper trimmer. And now I've got all my pieces cut. So you really don't even need to make the tick marks. You can actually just line those up on your paper trimmer, at least for this one, this way of the scrambled blocks. So I just make sure those are off so I don't see them. All right, so now again, you can make 2 cards because you've got additional pieces for everything. So this is where you kind of do that mix and match. So we've got like 1 down here, 1 goes up here. Make sure and then this one will go down here. This one is up. Right. And then this one will go there. So you got that, that, and that. And then this one, and this one. So that one I did a good job with my bear. So I'm probably going to use that one for today. And then these are for another card. I'll just save these for something else. So now I'm going to layer these onto my 4 5 1/4, I'm sorry, 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm using designer series paper. So I like to first put these on so that I know where my borders are going to be. So when I go to glue, they're lined up. You can also, if you want, you can just smush them together, you know, like that. You could do it that way too. But sometimes I like to have just a little bit of the white showing all the way through. So either way works. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So I'm going to start up here, and we'll just start gluing this. Whoops. And this is where I like using the liquid glue because I've got a little bit of time to wiggle things around before it is glued in place. Okay, so that looks good. And then we'll do this next one. All right, and then I just flip it over once I have everything down, and I just press everything just to make sure that's all glued down. Looks good. All right, and then this will be attached then to the front of the card. So making sure you're grabbing your card and you've got your pattern paper going the right way. Nothing worse than putting a card together and you realize that you have it upside down. I have done that. All right, so there's that. Again, I just smooth that out, make sure everything's adhered. So that looks good. So that's that fun scrambled block, super easy. So now let's go ahead and we'll decorate our inside. So again, I've already kind of, just to save on time, I made some pieces already. I'm not sure what I'm all using yet. But I took some of the snowflakes from the textured chic. I used some of the it's in the clearance rack. The in color, it was the 2224 glimmer paper. So this is it's kind of like that Tahitian tide, but it's an ombre. So the lighter color kind of coordinates with this. And then I did some retired vellum paper that's onto the deckled circle white cardstock. So I've got some snowflakes with that. And then I made my little scenery with my bear. And I did some of the retiring foil paper that's in the holiday catalog. And then again, there's that ombre glimmer paper that works really good. So that is that. And then I also made one more because I think, are these both? Yeah, these are both the same size. So when I made these, what I did is I take the deckled circle, I take a piece of white cardstock, and then I take the same, the glimmer paper, and I cut both of them together so that my bottom circle is going to match for doing my snow. And then I just take whatever die you have that has kind of like a curved line. There's a variety of them in the catalog, or even some retired ones, or you can just freehand it. So that's kind of, and then I just take that white circle and then cut that part off. So that's what I did there to make my snow. And then the deckled circle, you kind of sometimes have to find where it aligns if you care. I think at this point, I'm just going to plop it down there. That looks pretty good. Because the edges are not like a perfect circle. So there's my snow. And then I have a couple of trees that I die cut. So I did garden green and pretty peacock. And then I did another little glow-in-the-dark moon that I cut out using the little circle. I think this one is from the Winter Owl. I actually did take that one out of there. So I've got my moon. Oops, let's see here. So we'll do our tree. Just trying to figure out how I want to. Here. And then we'll have our moon. Yeah, and the glow in the dark paper, so it's retiring, but it is on one of the 60% off or up to 60% off sale. And I want to say, I think it's like around $4 for the pack of that 6x6 paper. So I may have to get, if it's still available, I may have to get some more. I really do like that glow in the dark paper. It's kind of fun. And then I did a pretty peacock tree as well. That was a little bit smaller. And then I think for this one, I am going to maybe pop up my bear. I'm just trying to think here. Otherwise, I just went to town and die cut a bunch of stuff. But I'm thinking now I may change my bears. I may do my other ones. Yeah, I think I'll just do this, the little one. I'll just do the little guy. So this will be on my inside. We'll just do a little bear. And then with that glimmer paper, sometimes it does take the glue a little bit of time to dry. So I'm just going to put a block on this. And actually, I'm just going to move it over here. Let's do a couple blocks. Make sure that that's really glued down. Okay, and I'm going to do my same inside here. And I'm just leaving this one blank because I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do this as a Christmas card or if I might do it for one of my January birthdays. So I'm going to leave it blank because it's always nice to have some winter cards. And then we'll have this one be on the front, I'm thinking. So how am I doing on thickness? Yeah. Now, normally I would probably pop this up with a dimensional. I think I will. I can always put extra, or I can hand deliver this one too. So I am going to put dimensionals on my circle here. Actually, I have to go into the office next week because we've got a new hire, and so I can deliver some of my birthday cards to my coworkers, and I can just leave them on their desk. So yeah, we still work remotely, which is kind of nice. All right, so there's that. And then I'm going to put in, let's see, is this dry? Yeah, so that's good. So now here, I'm only going to put it, glue on half of the circle, or probably even less than half, because it's just going to fit on that tab. So I'm going to put it on this middle tab. And I'm butting it up right against that crease line. And I'm just going to press it down just to hold it in place. I'll give it a little squeeze. Whoops, and I went too big on that. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. I totally forgot. This one, I do have to have a smaller circle. Well, shoot. Yep, see, look at that. I was doing so well. So I do need my smaller circle. That's right. On the landscape one, you've got a little bit more wiggle room for your circles that you're putting on there, or whatever die cuts. But I forgot on the portrait one, you do need to be sure your image isn't going to poke out. So there you go. What not to do is what I'm showing you. But you can always fix things. Always fixable. That's why I always have tons of stuff that I have die cut out already. All right, so let's add, we'll do a couple more trees. Let's see, do I have another? Yeah, I do. I'm going to do a foil in that. Yeah, I watch movies and I die cut. That's why I've got all these trees. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Let's try this again. I keep it real. Not everybody's perfect, so. All right. So now, actually, I'll have this one over here. It'll pop up a little bit higher because it can attach to that circle. A little bit of glue here. Put it on straight. little bare? I do. Yeah, we'll just do another little guy. And then I think I will add this little moon. This is out of the forest die with the trees and stuff. Oh boy, the struggle is real today. And we'll do our moon. Kind of like the crescent moon that we saw yesterday on our walk with Miss Ezera, our little greyhound. Okay, so now let's try this again. Putting this on. I really need to switch my nozzle. That's my problem. I refilled that glue, and so now it's like coming out like crazy. Okay, take two. We'll put this now in the center, butt up against that crease line. We'll give it a little squeeze. Make sure it's held in place. And now, when I close it, you don't see it. A little bit, but that's okay. I'll trim it off a little bit. Okay, so make sure your images are small. All right, and then I think these then will still be okay. Yeah, these are small enough. So I'm gonna put, let's see here, do I want? I think I will. These are a little bit thicker, so I think I'll save those. These are thinner. I'll put these in. So again, you're going to have it be on half of that panel, kind of butt up against that score line. And then we'll do our other one. And like I said before, you can do all three of these. You can just do the one. You can glue images like directly onto, you know, the panels instead of having them be half on. So there's that. So again, that circle, that center one, really should not be more than 2 inches. And this is like 2 1/8. That's why mine's kind of popping out just a titch. But I'll trim that off, so that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, and like I said, I'm going to keep this is where I put my greeting and stuff. I'm going to leave it blank for now because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. So there, that's the scramble blocks. And again, you can do another card because you've got those extra pieces. So we will now move on to the landscape version. So you know how to do that fold. And again, I did another scramble blocks. Now this one, I've got everything done already, so I won't have to have the video be longer than it needs to be. And then I've got all my pieces for the inside. So again, that's that same template that I did. And so on this time around, I put it onto a piece of garden green cardstock. So again, my DSP was at 3 3/4 by 5. My cardstock is 4 by 5 1/4. I did that same. I did 2 sheets and I cut them together so I can get my pattern. And then your card base, because now our card is opening landscape and it's going this way, you need to have your cardstock be 4 1/4 by 11, and then you score in half at 5 1/2. So I already did that. So I'm just going to fold this in half. And again, making sure your cardstock edges are aligned together. You're then going to get out your scoring pal or your score tool again, simply scored. And this time around, our DSP is 4 by 12, and we're going to score at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 inches. So again, the card is opening this way, so pay attention to your pattern. So when you cut your cardstock, that you've got it going the right way. So again, this is at 4 by 12. So another way of using up that designer series paper. Okay, so we are going to score at 3 inches, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, so same thing. You're going to start with your end and fold this one. Oh, there's Ezera. Flap attack. And I just make sure that it's meeting that score line. And then we'll start making the fan. So again, now I'm going to go back. Sorry, here. Yeah, so starting, if you can see it here, on that, oh, it's hard to see. There it is. This score line, we're going to go back. And then forward. And then back. Making sure you're getting everything always lined up. And then forward again. And then back. And then forward. And then this is where I want to make sure my edges of my designer series paper are aligned. And then I do my final, oops, and I shifted it, my final crease. So that when you open it, now you've got your accordion fold in there. And then again, same thing, because our card's going to be opening this way. We're going to take this 3-inch panel, we're going to glue it so that it's attached there. So I'm going to put glue on this 3-inch panel. And let's see here. Yeah, 'cause it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we're just going to line this up, making sure I'm getting that 1/4-inch border around. So now I'm going to show you the other way. So instead of putting the glue like we did last time and closing it, you can also just put the glue here and then stretch it over and align it to the other side. So that's the other way of doing it too. So then you just stretch this over, and again, making sure you're getting that 1/4-inch border. It. And now you've got that fold. Fun, fun. Cool, cool. All right, so then I already have my scrambled blocks done. And this one, so now here, because this is longer, you can do a larger circle if you wanted to on that middle panel. But on this one, I think I was going to be doing these little ones. So this is going to be on my front focal. And I think for this one, do I want, which way do I want my, this way, having the blue on the bottom. Yeah. Kind of looking at my berries. Maybe it does. Yeah, I should probably go this way. Okay. Sometimes it's nice having the pattern paper that doesn't matter, you know, which way, what direction it's going. But then there's others where you're like, oh yeah, I really need to have it going this way. Oops, there we go. Make sure that's all centered. All right, and then this one I've already decorated it. So again, it's those deckled circles, which are going to be carrying over. So they'll be online only after December, because right now they're in the mini catalog. But they will be carrying over, which is really nice because I do love them. And then because this is popped up a little bit, I do want to make sure I've got some glue on my tree. Staying down. There we go. All right, and then we'll open it up. And again, this one is what did I end up doing? This is probably a 2-inch. Yeah, this is a 2-inch circle. So this one, definitely I've got plenty of room. So again, I'm just going to put glue on half of it. And this is going to go right in that middle panel. And then I've got my little snowflake, the deckled ones, and I did that embossing folder. Falling snowflake sky. I can't even remember that folder. Snowflake sky. Yeah, it is right. Oh, what am I doing? Only half. Oh my goodness. It is time for another cup of coffee. Okay, let's try this again, Linda. There are days that the stamping sometimes is not on. All right, so this is going to go up here. Give it a little pinch. And then we'll do the same thing on this one. Just put it on half of it. A little pinch. And then I just make sure everything closes. We're not real thick, which is good. And then for the greeting for this one now, because this is a little bit wider, this can be, and again, you can do 2 of these. You could put one on either end. I'm just doing the one. This is going to be 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, and it's just cardstock. So I did Old Olive, and then I did my trees in Garden Green, Pretty Peacock, and then that green foil. And then I stamped it in Cherry Cobbler already. So... and that I'm just going to put inside here. And again, if you wanted a little bit narrower border, you can increase this by 1/8 of an inch, like how I did the other one. All right, so there is the landscape inside accordion flagpole or flag fold, or pretty pleats is what some other people call it too. So either one works. This is like an accordion fold of some sort. So there are those 2, the landscape and the portrait. And then I wanted to just real quick show you how to do that split diagonal, the landscape version. So on this one, again, you're going to be having your card open. You can either have it, now if you want to do like that fun fold, like we just did, you would want to have it be that 4 1/4 by 11. But this one, I'm just going to have it be a landscape, but it's just opening the top way. So it's just going to be the 8.5 by 5.5 folded in half. And then I've got my 4 and 5.25 piece of neutral cardstock for the inside. And then this one, I'm not doing any additional layering. I'm just adding my diagonal stuff on here. So for this one, my split diagonal, again, I'm going to be using 2 different pieces of designer series paper because I want to make 2 cards. And so I'm using, again, that Walk in the Forest or Walk in the Woods, and then that Oxidized Copper. So I've got both of these, and they're 4 by 5.25. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a mark at 1/2 inch, and then you're going to make another mark down at 1.25. And then from the left, you're going to measure over to 4. And then from the right, you're going to measure down to 2.25. And then you're going to cut both of those pieces so that you're getting those diagonals. And if you're working with foil paper, like if this was, if you had foil for both of them, you don't want to mark on this. So what you would do is flip it over and reverse your measurements. So now you would go down 1/2 inch on the right, down 1.25 on the right. Then you would go over from the right to 4, and you would go down from the left at 3. So you would just flip it so that when you turned it over, you're still getting your directional pieces with this. That's what happens when you have that foil. But you can also, just cheat. Take your, because I'm going to show you how to do that too. Take your score tool, and you'll want to grab like, you can do, let's see here. Can I do it on, I don't know if I can line these up. Let me just double check here. If it'll be easy for me to line up. Oh yeah, I can do it this way too. So have all of your pieces together. So you got your template and your 2 other pieces. Line this up. So once you make your template, this is what you can do. Line this one up. So again, on my score tool, I just took a Sharpie and just did a line down my Simply Scored tool. So this is my guide so that I can line up this point to this point and score so that I know where to cut. So I'll make sure that's showing through so I can see it. Yeah, I can. And then again, you're going to take this point and then the 4-inch mark and line these up. So now you should be able to see those score lines so that now you know where to cut. So that way works once you make your template. So again, I'm going to cut both at the same time. I'm going to line up, making sure I can see my line here and I can see my line here. So I'm getting those pieces, and now I'm going to shift it, making sure my 2 pieces of paper are aligned together. And now I'm going to cut at my other mark. I'm like there and there. And now you can take your 2 pieces. So I'm using Lost Lagoon. So I'll do a real quick so you can do a screenshot of that pattern for the split diagonal. All right. So now we're going to have one will have the Lost Lagoon kind of, or the kind of that copper paper as the middle, and then the other one is going to have the forest. So now you got your 2 cards. Super fun. And again, if you want, and I think on these ones I do, I tend to keep these all, yes, these I will keep butted up together. So when we go to glue these, you're going to keep that 1/4 inch border. Actually, I'm going to switch my glue thing, since this one is wanting to come out really fast today. Okay, so we'll put this one. And again, I just make sure I kind of get my pieces aligned. Make sure we are straight. Do the middle piece. And again, this is just going to be right up against the other paper. White cardstock, just 4 by 5 1/4. This is just for my inside. And again, I'm just leaving this one blank because I'm not quite sure what I need for January and February birthdays or whatever. Thank yous. All right, so that's that one. And now we'll do the other one. Same thing. Yeah, I always like layouts that use up your paper scraps. And again, I just make sure my puzzle pieces are all kind of working together. Make sure I'm straight. And you can also, if you don't want to do pattern paper, you can do this with cardstock, and you can always like use your embossing folders to give it a little bit of texture. You can stamp on it. You can do a combination of cardstock and paper, designer paper. And then the last one. And again, when you're doing these cuts, just be aware of your pattern paper. Again, because I had the trees, so you want to make sure when you're cutting your paper that you have your trees aligned correctly so that when you go to cut it, they're not like upside down or sideways. So, all right. Okay, and we'll just real quick put this on the inside. And then for my focal pieces, I have done, I did my tree. So this paper, it's that Dazzle paper that's in the main catalog. It's kind of a thick specialty paper. And sometimes it's a little tricky to die cut, but it did handle the tree. die pretty well. And then again, here is that Lost Lagoon and the Deckled Circle and my Snowflake Sky embossing folder. And then I just did a saying magic is in the air. It's like a retired Christmas greeting from a few years ago. And so I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto my focal. And I think on this one, yeah, I think I want this, the trees with the trees. And I like to just, you know, kind of keep it off center a little bit. I gotta make sure I put glue up here because I don't think I did. Nope. Just because that's off the circle, but there we go. And then this, again, I had die cut. It is from the retired Snow Globe die set, but I didn't really have any other like reindeer dies or anything that were current, so just gonna put him on here. Just kind of stick him. Nope, keep it a little off. So there's that one. And then our owl. So I've got that glow in the dark paper again. If you put it underneath the light to charge it, it's then going to kind of have that glowing. Of course, it's not going to show with my lights on here, but I'm going to put this on. And I've got my little winter owls. So if you have not purchased the owls, they are retiring at the end of this month. And oh my gosh, I love these owls. I'm not a bird person, but I don't know, these little owls I just really liked. And then I've just got a branch that I die cut from that die set. This is in Pebbled Path. And this glow in the dark paper, you can stamp on it too. I was having probably a little bit better luck using like StazOn ink. Okay, a little bit more glue there. There we go. And then my little owl, I just had some extra pieces left over. So I actually die cut it twice. I did one in the white and then I colored it with the Stampin' blends. I did Pecan Pie and Smoky Slate. And then I die cut another little, I think this might be Smoky Slate or Gray Granite. Could be cardstock. It doesn't matter. Just two, so I have two pieces together just to give it a little bit more stability and some dimension. So I'll just glue him directly on here. Again, I had done quite a few videos with this owl, and so I had a bunch of these little pieces left over. And there we go. So that is, again, and I'll decorate with the saying and stuff once I know what I want to do with this one. So there is the split diagonal. So another way of getting two different card looks from your two sheets of paper that you cut together. And then, of course, you've got the scrambled blocks, fun, another way of doing multiple pieces of paper cut at the same time. And then our last one that we did, I don't know what happened to it. Where did it go? I stuck it somewhere. Well, I don't know where it went. Oh, here it is. And then we had our other scrambled blocks. So with our fun fold with the portrait style and the landscape and several different or two different ways of cutting your pattern paper. So thanks again for watching. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I wish all of you a very, very happy holidays. You know, Happy New Year. I'm going to be working on getting all of my cards now in the mail. So I probably will take a little break from doing some videos just so I can get caught up on my holiday things. But thanks again for watching. Thanks for the support, the likes, the subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please do so now. Give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. I love to hear from all of you. And again, thanks for your support and have a great day. And I will stamp again with you soon. Bye-bye.